I had a special request pretty quick, and I'm not trying to be like funny or whatever, and I don't want to like turn people down, when they want information. So, I try to give it out, but I really don't, barely would really want to talk about any of this. But when money is put up, I'm going to talk about it. So, I don't know how many videos are going to come from this. Somebody put up a nice amount of donation. I don't even know what this is for because they may try to come back and say they want a reading because they've done that before. Like they'll pay money, give out donations, and they come back like, "Oh, you didn't give me my reading or whatever." So I'm like pretty much I'm an interpreter and a reader. So even when you give me some money, I'm just going to talk about what I know that you need, pretty much as a healer. People don't like that sometimes. They're like, well, how do you know I didn't want to ask you this and that? And it's like, well, if that's the case, you can always text me at 513-487-9415, and I would be glad to set up some appointment and talk to you for no charge if you've already donated and get like all the other questions that you have answered. I have no problem with that. When I see it's like a donation or whatever, I just go ahead and pretty much address what I know that they want me to talk about because people pretty much know what's going on from a certain degree through gossip and stuff. And it's my job to just make it real. So by the time I come on the video, like a whole lot of this is already known by people. And they're just hearing it from my mouth. Oh, okay, I see what's going on. But they done already heard it from this person, that person, and maybe even me, like going around or whatever, like, 'cause I teach publicly and I teach about myself personally. I look at my life as a teaching piece. But anyway, make sure we're still rolling. So we had this person donate some funds or whatever based upon. I'm not going to give out the ritual because I would never do that to this group of people, but it was a ritual that went down. I don't know how long this group of people have been doing this ritual. From my research, I've been seeing it go on for like the past couple of weeks. And they did this ritual or whatever, and they wanted me to get into this ritual, and I declined it uh, before because of the fact that some of the people that were in the ritual I knew personally, and I felt as though it would have been a disrespect to the ritual for me to get into the ritual knowing that I knew these people personally for other reasons, and it would have messed up the ritual possibly. So I decided not to get into it. So here I find out that they just find me, and I'm serious about this. People think I'm making this up, but my whole career of monetization, I've never told anyone this, but I've monetized over, like, this is just through YouTube. Like, I've monetized over $9 million. Like, it's more than that. It's like, I don't want to give the exact amount, but it's real close to that, right? And I've never told anyone this. And here to find out, since I declined this ritual some kind of way, because I mean, when you monetize, it's public funds, of course, so people can see it. They may not can access it, but if they got the right type of money, they can access it too. Like you put down payments and get loans, and people have done that to me before with like monetization stuff that I monetize through my own sweat and blood and giving out credit. Because you got to remember, I'm a secure party credit too, so I give credit to all type of people, and I don't know a whole lot of times who I'm giving credit to. I just do it and just like and direct it as it goes. So I gave out a lot of credit to a lot of stuff that I did, and I'm not here to talk about that. The bottom line is that I gave out over $9 million in some credit, some treasury bonds. When you talk about monetizing, it's levels to it. So it's not always credit. Sometimes it's cash. Sometimes it's treasury bonds. Sometimes it's contracts. Sometimes it's all type of stuff. Banks, all type of different stuff. Coupons. It gets funds, sometimes clothes. I mean, it's all type of stuff you can exchange that I've gotten from monetize. I mean, pretty much anything that you bought, probably in the store, I can probably get it through monetizing and a little bit of my own effort. Because I mean, it's not just this is like how the military would teach a particular person that was in like high level government how to monetize and come to a country and create a life for themselves. So the stuff that I'm teaching, and they hate it. Even the military. This is why I'm in this scenario, life threatening and stuff like that, because this isn't just information that they just give out. Here, this is how you make it. Nothing. That's how I did it, and I made over 9 million doing it. In my long career of really doing it, which started in when I was messing with the game actually, and Jay-Z. And it started back then, and they got me serious about it. It was the game and Jay-Z. And they was like, and Beyonce. And they was like, do it. Get serious about it. She was like the female part. Because I know she was into monetizing too. And they was like, do it, from different sources. I was hearing from their managers, different people. So I got into it. And I started out with like AT&T and different phone networks. I was in it before this, but I wasn't serious about it. I started out actually with Comcast. That's where I really first started it. As far as the contract and the company I was using to monetize through it. And then YouTube, of course, but I'm saying you have to have a carrier or something. Like, where is your money going to sit at once it leaves YouTube overnight? I had to have all that set up. So I was using Comcast for a while. And I still got stock in them. Shout out to Comcast. And I'm doing well with them, actually. I'm making a lot of money with them on the side. I don't really want to talk about that. That's not what this is about. So I got into AT&T with these guys, like with the game, Jay-Z, and a few other people. They got me serious about it, so I started monetizing, and built up. And I've been with various carriers, but over this period, which started in 2020, I raked up to about 9 million altogether as far as what I funded on different levels, from concerts, all type of stuff. And this has turned into like other millions. Like it's like kind of like an umbrella, and it's hard to understand. But from this 9 million, I could direct you into different directions. It's like, okay, it's like, like I took 2 million and put that over there, and that turned into 20 million. Of course, they're like, why can't you access all this? Why are you broke and ask for money? Because that's how it goes. Like, you don't get, like I said, monetizing, their last resort is to give you cash. You got to remember that. That's their last resort. Like, if they give you cash, it's like their final resort. They would rather exchange various different things with a person. If they cash you out, they really upset. There's usually a gimmick to it. Sometimes you'll get it, but you gotta be careful. Just like the Illuminati. I mean, anything else in the music industry. I mean, people that rap, you guys know the same thing. It's just the people don't rap. You guys aren't into monetizing. You guys are into making music. That's your career. If you a CEO, you ain't just into monetizing. You're into like running a whole label. You're an executive. Me, I'm into monetizing. That's primarily what my business is about. That's pretty much what I do. Whether it's with musicians, news, mostly do music because I know a lot of people or knew a lot of people in that industry. And it's a lot of business relationships I have, so it's easier for me to access money out of that industry. That's why I do it. Honestly, it's the fastest way for me to get money. It's easy money. For me, get money out the music industry. Even though a lot of people don't like me in it, but they know who I am, I know who they are. And it's just a flow relationship. So that's just how it is. But I probably got the most enemies actually in that industry, believe it or not, too, at the same time. Like, based off what's going on and based off what I'm about to tell you. So I wanted to lay a foundation, let you know what I'm talking about. Like, you ain't got all this money, why you asking us and all that? That's why, because it's just like funding something. You monetize, it's just like a budget. Don't mean you're gonna get any of that cash back. You gotta like turn over, you gotta turn the money. You know what I'm saying? Before you can get back to that point of like, okay, now I'm receiving the cash back type of thing. That may take a year, months, depending on you, what you was doing. I did like a whole lot of guerrilla marketing. So for me, I mean, I had a lot of money sometimes. I mean, to me, what was a lot of money? Sometimes I literally came on here, I was in line with you guys. I didn't have a penny. They were still making videos, starving, stomach growling, whatever. So they donated a decent amount of money to me to go ahead and I'm going to do a host of videos about why this $9 million is gone. And I just found this out just a minute ago. And that's why I'm making this video. It's because I said no. And by right, these people are so high up. Mind you, these people I said no to all have contracts for over 100 million. They're all moguls. These people I said no to, they're not normal people at all. I mean, to me, you know what I'm saying? Maybe to you. But to me, they're high up, celebrities, whatever. And I said no to them. And, yeah, that's where the money went. And I didn't know that. They fined me, you know what I'm saying, for that. And it was $9 million. And that's about right. I'm familiar with that because of some of my teachers that was into like different levels of secret societies always instructed me that if you don't want to go through certain initiations, you can always pay your way through it. They always taught me that. Like, you don't have to take oaths. If you have money and you have a way to get through it and you want to learn something, you don't have to go sit up under somebody else's feet. necessarily and be a slave. I ain't saying you got to be a slave just because you learn from someone, but that's sometimes what it turns into because knowledge is power. And it's like if you don't use that will that you learn from knowledge, the person that you teach it could take over what you're doing. So a lot of times it is kind of like a I'm talking down to you type of thing. I understand that because I've been in both scenarios where I had to teach down to people and I had to listen and get talked down on to learn something. And that's how you're going to get it because you don't got the money. But then if you got money, you can pay your way through stuff. And a lot of times people think this is stupid and they don't want to come up with these amounts. They ain't little amounts. They like, well, I'm going to pay you that just for some stupid little, they taught me this, that. It wasn't worth it. I mean, because if you look at what I said no to, a lot of people will be like, you're a fool. I don't think that. I think it was very much worth it, even though it's fucked up because that's what dropped the ones on me. And that's what I want to tell everybody really in this video is that that's why the ones dropped on me. If it cuts off or whatever, that's really what I want to put in this message. Is that's why the ones dropped on me. It's because of the fact that I was fined. And I just found this out by some secret society because I didn't want to partake in their little rituals. And I'm not going to go into what they are. And of course, if it's $9 million, you know it wasn't no bullshit. And I didn't want to do it. So that money, it's not really gone, but I mean, then at this point, it goes up into like a auction kind of like. So it's like teams can just pull out and do what they want to do because it's been annuity. And then, of course, I can bounce back. There's ways. It takes about really 8 wins from this team that I was invested in, which could take like, a couple weeks or it could be overnight. So I'm going to try this since these people have been donating. And I'm pretty good at this. I've been annuity before, been one out before. This actually would be my 3rd time. When I was in Minnesota working with Jay-Z, I was one down and I was saying this out loud or whatever. He sent like over 10 grand at that time to help me to get out of that scenario or whatever. Him and his wife and his son or whatever. And some other people that was affiliated with this, but and his family sent this money or whatever. Yeah, he got some secret family members. We're not going to go into that. But, so they sent this money or whatever and helped me to get out of this scenario. So I've been proven to be able to get out of scenarios like this, and maybe that's why these people helped me, and I really appreciate it. I'm kind of in a, not a good mood because of the way it happened. You guys know how it happened, and that's the difference because last time it didn't happen like that. It was just an honest scenario between me and some personal people. I was working with Young Dolph before he went through the scenario. And actually, when I got annuity was when he got shot. It was the same time. And I talked about that or whatever, but that just happened to happen during that time or whatever I was working with. Because actually, that's someone I knew for a while. And he went away or whatever, passed away, whatever the case may be. So that scenario happened. And then now I'm here with this scenario, which is different because that wasn't a beef really. That was just like personal and some money exchanges happened that didn't go right. And boom, we had to come up with some money. So that was kind of like we all came up with it, played our part. This is different. This is like a beef. That's why this annuity drops is based on a beef. It's still kind of like, of course, probably going on because I'm feeling a certain way, and I'm sure they are too for whatever reasons they're feeling a certain way. So it's still kind of going on or whatever. But I'm past that and not here to talk about that, just to kind of put it out there so people don't think that I'm just out here fucked up or whatever. But that's why it happened. Whatever the case may be is because of the fact that I didn't do this ritual and now I paid them off. So guess what? I'm on the same level they on. And they salty a little bit. But I'm on this mogul level with them because, yeah, you visa my money and I'm going to take the annuity. And if I turn and my people help me turn what you guys have been donating, I appreciate that. 3600strawsy@gmail.com via PayPal. As long as my people keep donating and they see the scores and they know what to do and how much money to put in and stuff like that, which they've been doing good at, I'm going to turn it over. And once I turn it over, I'm not going to be annuited anymore. So you can't, you know what I'm saying, look at me like I'm one out. I'm just going to turn it over. Hopefully we can go to a championship level in MLB and come back. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that's the case may be, but in addition to that, past all of that, once I pay you and I turn back over, I'm now privy to the same information that you have in your little rituals and stuff that you did, and even possibly access to the same people if I really wanted to, that you would have access to, and I could do the same stuff that you did, and you know what you did in the ritual. I'm not gonna, like I said, I will never give out the ritual, but you guys know what you guys did in the ritual, and I could do the same thing and perform another ritual, probably make more money than what you made doing this ritual, and maybe I might. Who knows? But right now, that's not what I'm on. But maybe I might, because it is like a beef. You know, I don't want it to be physical, and it could just be intellectual and spiritual right now. So I might just to beef back in that way without being physical. But right now, that's not what I'm on. I'm going to turn. I have to turn around like intellectually and not be playing around and stuff and turn this over and get this team right. Because it was really messed up how it all broke up anyway. Because some of the people that's on the chair of these teams, see, I know these baseball teams, these people that in the back, see, I know Secretary of States and all type of different people, the states and stuff like that. So like, I know a lot of these people that are affiliated with these baseball teams. That's another thing. So like, I know why stuff happens on a deeper level and how it got to the point where it's at, whatever the case may be. So that's what happened. I really didn't want to make this video extra long, but people deserve it. You'll probably see a lot of me just because of what happened. Like I said, I respond to what I respond to, and that's what I stand by. And someone did put up money, and they're allowed to get information based off that. And it was a nice amount, so they will be getting more videos when they need it. And they have a way to contact me ASAP. I pretty much know this group. You know what I'm saying? But whatever the case may be, if you feel like your questions aren't getting answered, again, text me at any time. I left the number on here. Shoot me an email at any time, but I don't really check my email too much, honestly. It's better to text me. I really don't answer the phone either, so it's best to text me or whatever. It's the best way, honestly, for any type of booking. But again, if I didn't leave it, 513-487-9415, you guys stay peaceful.